All right, great. We will call this meeting, this special meeting, to order at 7:03. Our first item on the agenda is an update from our superintendent about reopening in full mode, 100% in.
Okay, so I'll give an intro to this, and then we do have two of the principals on, so I'll also invite them to add comments. Yesterday,
can I interrupt you for just a moment? There's some feedback, Jeanette. I'm hoping that you can put yourself on.
I'm sorry. Yep,
Thank
I didn't
you.
realize I was even on. Sorry.
Thanks. All right, great. Go ahead, Bob. And thank you. Matt is here. Oh, nope, he just left. I'm sure he'll be back.
yeah, he must be having a connection issue. All right.
Okay, sorry about that.
So Monday, yesterday, was our first day of in-school instruction. We still do have some students in distance learning. About just under 21% of the kids are in distance learning. So the remainder of the children did report to school on Monday. I toured each of the buildings. I got to say, it looks good to have so many children back in school. It really is nice. The kids are, as we stated in the plan and also in the letters that went home to parents, the kids are 4 to 6 feet apart. The biggest distances are found at the elementary school. But we do have a couple of classrooms there that are around 20 kids, 20 or 21 children. And so they're about 4.5 feet apart in those rooms. So when you look in there and you see them in a room with that many children, it does look a little more densely populated than in the classrooms where there are only 10 or so children. Some classrooms have even less than that. I don't know whose phone's ringing.
That's Mark's phone.
All right.
I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay.
So, but we are able to maintain those distances in each of our schools. I'm going to say that things are going okay so far. Definitely not perfect. And of course, the couple of letters that I've had to send home announcing that there were positive COVID cases during the hybrid, right? So those cases, the people, either staff or students that had tested positive, those cases occurred pre-return. So we're hoping that our protocols continue to mitigate the spread of COVID in the school. I talked to several staff members at each of the schools. While they are happy to have the children back, they are keeping a vigilant eye on things. They are communicating either directly to me or to their building level administrators when about how things are going, either well or if something they are seeing already needs improvement. The kids seem very happy to be back in school. Which is nice to have that. Of course, our athletic program at the high school is underway, so we have games starting. So there is a real sense of not quite normal yet, but a big giant step towards normal. We do anticipate, things ebbing and flowing a little bit now as we continue into the school year with children, staff members, etc. Maybe getting normal illnesses that we would normally have at this time of the year, but keeping an eye on that in case there are any more situations that arise with COVID. But overall, things are going well. We haven't had to use the larger spaces yet, but we are certainly looking at those. So the gymnasiums at each of the schools we're able to use for gym class. We haven't had to repurpose them for regular classrooms. But the gyms, the cafeterias can be used for mass breaks during inclement weather, as long as we keep the children in proper social distancing of 6 or more feet when they take their masks off. So we could spread them out in large spaces. They could get a mass break inside if there is bad weather. Otherwise, kids continue to go outside with their teachers for mass breaks in the tents or just outside in general on a nice day. I see a lot of kids eating lunch outside at the middle school and the high school. So that has been nice. I don't know if Jay, you're on the call. I will let you speak specifically to the high school. And then I'll ask Rita to speak specifically to the elementary school. So Jay? Oh, sorry, Jay is, Jay just sent a message. His mic is not working. So he's not going to be able to speak directly. So Rita?
Yeah, good evening. So it's only been the second day, as Bob said. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, you know, it's hard to tell exactly how everything's going, but I do just want to thank you for a couple things, because obviously there is some anxiety when we're going in full for all different reasons, but there are a couple of key pieces that you as a board supported, and so going full has helped put me at ease, and I know the staff. One is, in addition to a health aide, obviously we've been flooded with phone calls, you know, little colds. Parents have been really vigilant and great about not sending their kids when they're sick. So there's been a flood of Jennifer Rawl, like I can speak at the elementary school, and staff asking questions. I feel this way, should I come in? Even though there's a checklist, right? You still want that assurance. And so having a health aide has helped with just those pieces. So I want to thank you for that. Going in full, obviously the tents, the support of that has been incredibly helpful. Now the tents are huge, bigger than we ever envisioned. And so now with the additional students, they still have plenty of space underneath there. So I just want to thank you for that as well. I know Bob Angeli and I walked yesterday together, and, you know, at the elementary level, many of the teachers are happy to have their whole class together. You know, so far so good. But I just did want to thank you for those pieces, because those have been helpful.
Nicole?
Okay, Rita, so is it, you still have the same model of, is it every single grade level has a teacher that's just doing distance learning, or is that just a couple of grades?
So kindergarten has just distance learning. Due to the small cohort size, actually the distance learning class has the largest amount of students in kindergarten. So that, Ms. Giles, is strictly distance learning. First, second, third, and fourth, they have a cohort in person 5 days a week and distance learning. Depending on the grade level, that could vary from 4 students to, I believe, third grades at 9 or 10 in person. And Bob saw that, like Ms. Gervais had her 10, 18 on the screen and the 10. And in fact, Bob, you got to say hi to a group of kids that yesterday. So those particular DL teachers have really mastered their craft, I say. and they're continuing to, I'm providing them any tech pieces, anything they want, because that's their platform. We're trying to provide as much as we can. So they do have, yes, there is a designated distance learning teacher. However, there is in-school students as well.
So let's say there's 3 classrooms. Let's just pick 3rd grade, okay? So 2 of the teachers have just in-class kids and 1 has both in-class and distance learning. So
Correct.
The other 2 teachers do not Zoom anymore, correct?
Correct, unless they have a student that's quarantined.
Got it. Yep.
So then they would still provide, and that's been we haven't had many of those cases, very few at the elementary thus far. But in those situations, we've worked with the family and the teacher has determined what's best. And so we've gone through that process. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
So I believe Mr. Apicelli left the meeting and then came back, and now his microphone is working. So Jay?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I add one more thing? I'm sorry. Sorry. I just wanted to also piggyback up on the distance learning teacher. I also have provided them with additional support staff. So they have the reading consultant who helps them. They also who co-teaches, and Lisa Urban, our math tutor. And then the school psychologist and her intern are going to work on doing once a month a special social emotional for those groups too. Sorry, I just wanted to add that piece.
Thank you.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's great. So we've been doing a lot of work getting ready at the high school for yesterday. And even some of this, you could see in the fact that Bob mentioned sports teams are, back competing, and things are starting to, get to feel normal within school in a very not normal times. We have been able to use some spaces. We use our library for a teaching space. We can fit actually, I want to say about 24 to 26 kids in our library. We do have a couple of classes that are 20 to 24 that are in there. We are also using we have a double classroom that's in our ag department, and we are using that double classroom for, again, more, some of our bigger classes. We have not had to use, as Bob said, the gym. We have a partition in the gym. We could potentially, if more distance learners come back, move into that space. We are repurposed our band room. We have 22 student seating places in our band room. Our band has now moved into our auditorium. There's additional spacing requirements for band and especially wind instruments. So if you look at the auditorium, it actually looks kind of funny in there when you see all these kids spread out playing musical instruments, but it works. So we're trying to stay away from the auditorium because it is used by the music classes, chorus and band. We are using our outside areas. The seniors have an outside area. There are stickers on their picnic tables out there. The stickers are put 6 feet apart outside. The students are told, sometimes repeatedly, that you must sit on a sticker. And that goes for our cafeteria. We have partitions in the cafeteria. There are, if you remember what our cafeteria tables look like, there are 2 6-foot sections of table that are joined. We have 3 students per table. So, I mean, there's 57 students that can sit in our cafeteria, as big as it is. So we've got that measured out pretty precisely. There's additional seating for, students under the tent that's right in our courtyard. And if the weather's bad, it starts getting cold, we are going to use that band classroom seating for lunches so that kids can sit inside when it rains or, like I said, when it's cold. Things really got off to what I thought was a good start on Monday with all the people in. It has really helped. If you've been in our school in the mornings previous to this year, our atrium is a big gathering point for students. They get off the bus, they meet all their friends there. So we have spaces that are, we're marked out in there, but we're also ringing our bells earlier. So we actually have students going to their classes at 7:15, and it's really helped to keep that area free and not have kids congregate there. That has really worked well. Our stairs, are up only, down only. The kids are doing just a fantastic job in there. Looking at them in the hall, we don't have kids stopping to talk like we've had in the past during the passing time. When the bell rings, the kids are moving from one class to the other. We just don't have, kids getting together and talking. If it wasn't for the pandemic, it might be good for the kids to sit there and do that, but they're listening to us and they're doing what we need them to do. They've done a great job. Our teachers have done a great job. Like you said, it's not a perfect situation, but everyone seems to be making the best of it. Even the trying to get the spectators into the sporting events that we had. Thursday, we had a home girls soccer game and a home boys soccer game. The whole process worked great. The parents came up, and it's funny. All the parents are coming forward with their IDs, even if we know them. They're showing us their IDs, and then they're going up to their spots. Volleyball had their competition on Friday. Cross country had an away meet on Saturday. And then we have some more. We've lost a couple of games right now due to other teams in other districts shutting down. So those games will be made up at another time. But really, it's been remarkably. It's gone remarkably well. Our schedule, people are getting used to our schedule. We had to make some changes to our schedule. Wednesdays during the hybrid, all 8 periods met. So we're not doing that during when we're back in school now. So, everybody just seems to be, adapting.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Nicole's got a question.
Thanks, Sarah. So Jay, what's the overall morale of the teachers? Like, are they feeling like they're okay with, now they've got everyone back in their classes, and what's the spacing like? Are they feeling all right?
I mean, I think the spacing hasn't changed any since, since the hybrid. There's just more people in those spaces. We're still maintaining that same 4-foot distance between students. The spaces in our bigger areas are actually bigger. There's more space in the library in between than in other, in other classrooms. But, I spent a lot of time on Monday walking around. I tried to get out as much as I could today, and, it just seems like things are going well.
Okay, so the teachers are okay. You're not hearing too many complaints about them at all?
Not really. I mean, it's just, the tough thing is dealing with, it's really, with the hybrid, you had kids at home and you had kids in school. So now we still have kids at home and we still have kids at school. So what's changed is the number of kids. There are teachers that I've talked to that have no distance learners in their classes. And, I went into a classroom on Monday and that teacher only had one person in school and everybody else was distance learning. So it's kind of a luck of the draw kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Right. So we don't want to be, painting just a rosy picture, right? So there were definitely some concerns raised by district staff, right, prior to coming back in with more students on Monday, and those concerns were raised by, lots of different types of employees, teachers, IAs, administrators. And as they raised the concerns, right, we had discussions about them, and we tried to problem solve around those issues. And so concerns had been raised certainly prior to bringing students back. It's a little early since we only had 2 days, and so I'm sure that there will be things coming forward as we implement. And I did allude to that in my letter to parents, maybe 2 or 3 letters ago, that we, once we're back in with more students in, the way we handle instruction could change, right? And so, and I'm not talking about having to switch out because of COVID cases or something like that. As we have more kids in the classroom and fewer kids in the distance learning, the model of our instruction for kids could shift a little bit. And so we will work through those issues as a group with the district staff. Our PD day this Friday, we have someone coming from EastCon. I say she's coming, but she's going to be providing a workshop through Zoom online for all the district teachers on blended learning and flipped classroom. So we broke that up into 2 different periods of PD, one for the elementary and grades 5 and 6, and one for grades 7 through 12. And then we'll provide the teachers with opportunity to work through and getting more familiar with the apps that we're using. And then the consultant from EastCon will maintain office hours, so to speak, all afternoon, and be on call for the entire teaching staff across the district for support and answer questions and things like that. So we're trying to make this process is, all the adults are learning too through this whole process on how to meet the needs of our students. And so we're looking forward to the professional development day this Friday. Also, I would just throw in, so we're continuing with the free meal program because we applied for the waiver extension. And so all meals are free for our students, those students that are in school, as well as students that are distance learning, and any really school-age child. They could come through the drive-through, even if they're not one of our students, and get meals. It's the same as the summer program. Obviously, we're not giving away as much food now as during the summer because the kids are in school, and so they're getting it there. We're still working on the mechanism to get the kids that are in school those weekend meals. That's part of the meal program. And so there's a couple of different bugs in that process that we need to work through, but we'll be getting word out to people how they can get access to those weekend meals when they are in-school students. Okay.
Bob, do we have a report from our middle school administration?
So I don't see Rob on the meeting tonight.
Okay, and then the question.
I'm sorry. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it tonight.
The question I want to ask is, the weather has been pretty beautiful. We've been actually really lucky. And I'm wondering if we are maximizing our time outdoors. I know particularly at LES, we have ample space for pretty much every class to be outside eating every day. I'm wondering if we can be utilizing that process. I know sometimes there are certain health concerns that prevent that, but I'm just hoping that we can get outside as much as possible to keep the kids spread apart, particularly in our larger class sizes, where they are eating for quite an extended period of time with their masks off without plexiglass between them. So that is one concern that I do have. So if we can get outside as much as possible, I think that would be good. All right, any other questions or comments on reopening? All right, seeing none, our next item on the agenda is to a potential executive session. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to begin executive session.
Thank you, Nicole. For the purpose of discussing
MOUs and, is that it?
This
just
is
MOU, thank you.
right.
For the purpose of discussing MOUs.
Thank you, Nicole. Motion by Nicole. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Will
Thank you,
invite
John.
me in?
Nicole, would you like to amend your motion to invite the superintendent?
Yes, I'd like to amend my motion to include the superintendent.
Thank you, Nicole. Moved by Nicole, motion by Nicole, seconded by John. Any discussion? All those in favor of going into executive session to discuss the MOU from the teachers union, please raise your hand. All right, that is unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll go into executive session at 7:30.
All right.
So what we will do, thank you for stopping recording, Bob. What we'll do is we are now recording. There is an action item on our agenda to act on the MOA with the Lebanon Educators Association. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to accept the MOA by the Teacher Association.
Motion by Nicole. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Seconded by John. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the Lebanon Educators Association MOA, please raise your hand. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion passes. All right, we have a second item on the agenda as an action item. Bob, would you give us just a little bit of background on this before we make a motion?
Yes. So similar to last year, there will be no summative evaluations for our certified staff. The state totally waived the evaluation process during the spring last year. This year, what they've done is provided flexibilities for districts. And so districts selecting these flexibilities can use the teacher and administrator evaluation process to focus on social emotional issues at the schools, right? This is something that educators have been very concerned about, with the students having been away for months, and just the overall social emotional impact it has had on our students and even ourselves as educators. I brought the flexibilities to the Professional Learning and Evaluation Committee. We discussed them. The committee unanimously is in support of adopting these flexibilities. It doesn't, so the flexibilities just allow us to change the focus of the goals, right? if a teacher and an administrator still want to focus on an academic goal, they certainly have the ability to do so. So that is not taken away from educators. But if the focus is going to be on social emotional issues regarding reopening of schools during pandemic, then the teachers and administrators have the ability to do that. There would still be observations, classroom observations. There would still be goal-setting meetings. There would still be post-observation meetings. All of that stuff still happens. But at the end of the year, we will not be providing any kind of data to the state regarding any summative evaluation for our certified staff.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the adjustments to the evaluation process? Or the evaluation document? No questions? Okay, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to accept the amend or flexible evaluation for educators.
Educator evaluation flexibilities?
Okay, yes.
Does that work? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Motion by Nicole. Is there a second?
I'll second if I don't have to say it.
Seconded by John. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the educator evaluation flexibilities, raise your hand. Okay, that is, Matt, do I have your hand or no? No, I have Alexis, Dawn, Mark, Maureen, John, Nicole, Sarah for yays. All those opposed? And all those abstaining? And Matt with an abstention. That motion passes. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
All right, now the next item on the agenda is an anticipated executive session for the purpose of discussing superintendent evaluation. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to go into executive session and invite the superintendent for his evaluation.
With an invite, Nicole, or without an invite? I think we're going to go into this privately. If
Oh, okay.
possible.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Motion
It
to go.
was not my expectation that I was going to be.
It was surprised.
I'm sorry. So motion to go into executive session, just us, without the superintendent.
Okay, motion by Nicole. Is there a second on the floor?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by John. Thank you, you guys, doing all the work. Any discussion? No? All those in favor of going into executive session for the purpose of discussing superintendent evaluation? In favor. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll go back into executive session at 8:02.
All right.
Thank you very much. We're going to remember to end this